If your eyes have fallen on these words, then something deep within you already knows. This is not a coincidence. You are not here by chance. You are here because something extraordinary is being prepared behind the veil of your current reality. The truth is simple: the world you see is not fixed. It bends, shifts, and molds according to the state of your being. If you are ready to be blessed, then you must first know yourself as blessed. Not later, now, not when things improve. Now, not when you have the proof. Now. You are not here to beg, you are not here to struggle. You are here to remember that your reality is not created by effort, but by inner knowing. The moment you imagined a better life, the moment you dared to see yourself wealthy, healed, loved, free, the seed of that reality was already planted. And if you do not doubt it, it must grow. Stop trying to figure it out. Stop wondering how. The how is never your business. Your business is to accept it, to embody it, to feel the truth of it before it becomes visible. Blessings do not arrive when you are desperate. They flood in when you are aligned. And alignment is not action, it is awareness. Right now, if you are still and honest, you can feel it. A shift. A current of energy pressing against your old patterns. You are being prepared to rise, not slowly, but suddenly. Not through logic, but through faith. If you are seeing this, it's because you are ready. Ready to release your attachment to the struggle. Ready to rest in the assurance of fulfillment. Ready to become the version of you who no longer hopes, but knows. And once you know, your world must follow. Your reality must bow. The walls must fall. The opportunities must arrive. The blessings must burst through in a way that makes no sense to the rational mind. So breathe. Anchor into the end result. Smile at the unseen and walk as if your miracle is already echoing across time to meet you. Because it is. And soon, very soon, your reality will explode with the blessings you once only dreamed of. Your current reality is not some fixed, immovable structure. It is fluid, responsive, and deeply personal. Everything you see, experience, and live through on the outside is simply the projection of what you hold within. This world is not punishing you, nor is it rewarding you arbitrarily. It is mirroring the beliefs, assumptions, and emotional tones you carry most consistently. The world is not happening to you, it is happening through you. This is the truth most people never discover, and yet it is the key to transforming your life into something miraculous. When you look around and see limitation, it is not because the world is limited. It is because limitation has become a familiar vibration within you. You have accepted it as truth, and so your reality obeys. But the moment you turn inward and begin to shift your awareness, when you begin to entertain new thoughts, new visions, new stories, everything outside must rearrange to reflect this new state of being. This is why inner conversation is so powerful. What are you telling yourself all day long? What internal dialogue are you entertaining? Are you constantly rehearsing problems, rehearsing lack, and replaying stories of defeat? Or are you cultivating a quiet but unshakable certainty that life is unfolding in your favor? Because whether whispered or screamed, every inner word becomes flesh. Every internal assumption becomes a brick in the structure of your experience. Blessings begin with a shift in perception. They do not descend from some distant sky. They emerge from the ground of your consciousness. The explosion of blessings is not something you wait for, it is something you align with. When you revise the script playing in your mind, you give permission for a new reality to come forth. You are not chasing anything, you are simply allowing the world to echo the new sound of your being. And here's the mystery: the world cannot help but respond. The outer must bow to the inner. If you cultivate a state of abundance, even if the evidence hasn't arrived, Life will stretch and bend to meet that frequency. Doors will open, people will shift, unexpected blessings will burst through in ways you could never predict. This is not magic. It is law. But most people try to change the outer world first. They push, they fight, they beg, they complain. And yet nothing moves because their inner state has remained the same. They are trying to alter the mirror instead of changing the face that looks into it. The mirror doesn't lie, it simply reflects. So if you are tired of lack, stop focusing on it. If you are exhausted by rejection, stop expecting it. Instead, begin speaking to yourself with kindness. Begin seeing yourself as chosen, as favored, as already whole. Carry yourself as one who walks in blessings, not because you are forcing them to come, but because you know they are already here. The world will not argue with your belief, it will mirror it. And the moment you revise your inner conversation, you begin to alter the structure of your universe. Let your inner world speak of blessings, and your reality will explode with them. This is the abyss until you see that horror and pain and bliss are just non-judgment. Imagination is not idle daydreaming. It is the creative force of your entire existence. What you imagine, you create. And what you imagine with emotion and consistency begins to take shape in the world you call reality. This is not theory. It is the silent engine behind everything you have lived so far. Every situation, every relationship, every financial state you've experienced, all began first in the unseen realm of imagination. You may not have been conscious of it at the time, but you were always imagining, and therefore always creating. You were not born to chase reality, you were born to form it. You are not the servant of circumstance, you are the source. Imagination is the seed, it is the beginning of every manifestation. But just as the seed is planted into soil and not seen for some time, what you imagine must first take root before it rises into form. The mistake people make is expecting instant proof before they've even fully planted and nurtured the seed. You must water your imagination with belief. You must live in the feeling that what you desire is already done, not in some far-off future, but now. The key is not to beg for it, but to assume it. You must embody the state of the wish fulfilled. This is the sacred art of living from the end. Living from the end doesn't mean pretending or faking. It means mentally and emotionally dwelling in the result before it arrives in the physical. It means closing your eyes and seeing your life as you desire it to be, and then waking up and walking through your day as if that version is unfolding in real time, because it is. Your imagination is not bound by logic, time, or circumstance. It doesn't care if you are broke, heartbroken, or stuck. It creates according to the feeling you maintain, not the facts you observe. When you truly imagine something with emotion, whether it's wealth, love, freedom, or healing, you impress it upon the deepest layer of consciousness. And once impressed, life begins to shape around that image like clay molded by an invisible hand. Do not concern yourself with how it will happen. The how is never your responsibility. The feeling is, the assumption is. Your job is to imagine clearly and feel deeply as though your blessing has already arrived. If you can persist in that feeling, the physical world must obey. It has no choice. This is how reality changes. Quietly, gradually, then suddenly, what seemed impossible begins to emerge. What was once delayed arrives with ease. It may not come in the way you expected, but it will come. Because imagination never lies, it only creates. So every time you sit in stillness, do not waste the moment worrying or doubting. Use that sacred space to imagine boldly. See yourself at peace. See yourself successful. Hear the praise. Feel the gratitude. Touch the outcome. Dwell there until it becomes more real than what your eyes see. Because whatever you consistently imagine with feeling is not just a fantasy. It's a preview. And if you can hold to it without wavering, you will walk into it with your eyes open. Desire is not random. It is not a fleeting whim or a selfish wish. It is sacred. The moment a genuine desire rises within you, it is not born from the outside world. It is whispered from the deepest part of your being. That desire is evidence that the life you long for already exists in a higher, unseen reality. You are not chasing a fantasy. You are remembering something the soul has already known. You were not given the ability to imagine a fulfilled life without also being given the power to receive it. Desire is divine proof that you are meant to walk in the direction of its fulfillment. It is not a cruel tease or some distant possibility. It is your birthright calling you back home. Every desire is an echo of the life your soul came here to live. You feel the pull not because you're missing something, but because it's already yours on an unseen level. This is why true desires never fully leave us. You may distract yourself, suppress the dream, or convince yourself that it's impossible. But that quiet yearning will still remain. Because it's not just an idea, it's a piece of your spiritual blueprint trying to emerge. To deny it is to deny a part of yourself. To embrace it is to say yes to the path you were always meant to walk. You are not trying to create something from nothing. You are aligning yourself with something that already is. The moment you felt the desire in your heart, the path began unfolding. You don't have to chase, you don't have to beg, you don't even have to figure it all out. All you need is faith in the unseen and commitment to your inner truth. The world may try to tell you your dream is unrealistic. Your past may whisper that it's too late. But neither the world nor your past holds authority over your divine design. That desire within you is older than your fears. It was placed there for a reason. To guide, to elevate, to awaken the deeper power inside you. So instead of questioning the desire, honor it. Instead of doubting its timing, trust its source. The fact that it exists within you is evidence that the fulfillment of it is not only possible, it's already written. You are simply walking the path to meet it in form. This is why you must stop viewing desire as lack. Desire is not the absence of a thing. It is the presence of a possibility. It means the seed is already planted, and if you nurture it with faith, with imagination, and with persistence, it must bloom. You are not waiting on life to bless you. Life is waiting on you to accept the blessing that's already been issued. That's the secret. You are not chasing what is foreign. You are remembering what belongs to you. You are not creating from desperation. You are awakening to what's already done. So when you feel the desire, smile. That's not hope, it's confirmation. That's not fantasy, it's truth surfacing. Walk in that truth and watch reality rearrange itself to meet your inner knowing. There is no power outside of you withholding your blessing. There is no force working against you, no external condition that must first be conquered before your miracle can unfold. The truth is simple and eternal. You are the operant power. The moment you realize this, everything begins to change. Not because the world suddenly becomes easier, but because you finally stop waiting for permission to receive what is already yours. You were never meant to chase answers or plead with life to move in your favor. You are not at the mercy of fate, luck, or circumstances. Your reality shifts the moment your belief does. The world outside bends to the assumptions you hold within. The delay you think is out there is only a reflection of your internal hesitation, your doubt, your unconscious agreement with lack or limitation. Every thought you consistently dwell in, every belief you accept as true, every assumption you refuse to abandon. These form the blueprint of your reality. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you assume to be true. And the moment you assume something with conviction, life has no choice but to match it. If you believe you are unworthy, the world will confirm that belief. If you believe you are chosen, favored, and destined for greatness, that too will be echoed back to you. There is no judgment, only reflection. The outer world is a mirror, and the hand holding it is your own. You don't need to struggle for the things you desire. You need to assume their presence and live from that assumption. Feel the reality of it within yourself. Walk, speak, and think as the one who already has it. Not as a game, but as a way of being. This is not pretense, it is power. You were given the creative faculty of imagination, not to escape reality, but to build it. You were given the ability to believe, not to suffer in doubt, but to shape experience according to your inner convictions. Every time you persist in a new assumption, even if nothing has changed yet in the physical world, you are shifting the foundation of what must eventually unfold. The question is never, will it happen for me? The question is always, am I willing to believe it's already done? Because when your belief becomes immovable, the external world will reorganize itself to mirror your inner certainty. What once felt far away will come suddenly, even effortlessly. Not because it's new, but because you finally assumed your rightful place as the operant power. No one else can create for you, no one else can limit you, and no one else can assume on your behalf. This is your gift, and it is your responsibility. The sooner you claim it, the faster life aligns with your deepest intentions. You do not need more time. You need more trust in the power that breathes through your consciousness. Stand firm in your new story. Walk boldly in your assumption. The moment you believe fully and without wavering, your miracle begins to move. Not from the sky, but from within you. When you dare to assume the end, when you truly embody the feeling of your desire already fulfilled, something miraculous begins to occur. Life, in its quiet, intelligent way, begins to rearrange itself around your assumption. People, places, situations, all begin shifting, aligning, and moving in ways your conscious mind could never predict. The path to fulfillment is never linear. It is never what you expect. That is the beauty of the process. The bridge of events will surprise you. It is not your job to figure out how your desire will come to pass. The how is never your responsibility. Your only task is to assume the end and remain faithful to it. The moment you do, life begins weaving together a sequence of events that lead to your manifestation. Often subtly at first, then unmistakably. It might look random, even inconvenient at times, but every step, no matter how disconnected it seems, is part of the unfolding. This is why you must trust the process, even when it makes no sense. You might lose a job, a relationship may shift, an opportunity might fall through, and yet these are not setbacks. They are necessary adjustments. The old must make room for the new. The familiar must give way to the greater version of your life that is now taking shape. The bridge of events is always perfect, always precise, but it is rarely logical. That's because the logic of your current self cannot comprehend the orchestration of the higher order responding to your assumption. You've entered a new state, and now life must catch up, so don't interfere. Don't panic when things seem out of place. Don't doubt the dream just because the scenery looks unfamiliar. Remain anchored in your inner knowing. Keep returning to the feeling that it is already done. Let that be your compass, no matter what appears in the outer world. The bridge will carry you, even when you don't know where it's leading. It may take you through detours, strange encounters, or moments of silence. But if you stay true to your inner reality, you will arrive at the fulfillment with clarity and awe. This is where many fall short. They imagine the end, but then try to control every step. They monitor every hour, worry over the timeline, or try to force circumstances into place. In doing so, they delay the process. The creative power does not need your interference. It needs your trust. You are not walking alone. The unseen forces of life are working for you. They are arranging meetings, shifting timelines, nudging hearts, and opening doors you don't yet see. This is the bridge, and it is building itself beneath your feet as you walk in faith. So relax. Stay in the state of the wish fulfilled. Let the bridge of events unfold in its own strange and magical way. One day, you look back and realize every moment, every twist, every turn was guiding you, not away from your desire, but directly toward it. Faith is not merely hoping for something to happen. It is knowing deeply, silently, immovably that it already has. It is the quiet power that remains when the senses scream otherwise. Persistent faith does not require signs, applause, or confirmation. It rests in the unseen and declares it real, even when nothing around seems to agree. This is the kind of faith that cracks open the sky. Reality as you know it is shaped by what you repeatedly accept as true. When you refuse to waver in your belief, when you hold your vision steady in the face of contradiction, you are not just hoping for a miracle, you are calling it forth. The unseen begins to push against the seen. What once felt solid begins to bend. What once seemed impossible begins to take form. Your persistent inner knowing forces life to respond. But persistence is the key, not desperation, not frantic repetition. True persistence is peaceful. It is loyal to the end result, even if the middle looks messy. It is unwavering in the storm. The world may tell you to give up. Your circumstances may argue against your desire. Time may try to convince you that it's too late. But if you hold your inner conviction, you override it all. This is where most give up, not because they lack the power, but because they measure their faith by appearances. They ask, "Where is it?" instead of affirming it is done. They start strong, but allow doubt to take root when nothing changes immediately. And so they plant a seed and dig it up before it can sprout. Persistent faith is different. It does not negotiate with the senses. It does not need physical evidence to believe. It knows the outer world is just delayed reflection. The transformation always begins within. And when you continue to believe, day after day, in silence, in solitude, in moments when no one else can see or understand, that belief begins to mold the very structure of your reality. Then one day, it breaks through. Not slowly, but suddenly, the sky cracks open, the walls fall, the blessings pour in, not as a reward, but as a reflection of your endurance. Life meets you where you refuse to let go. This is not magic. This is law. The universe bows to the one who will not be moved. You don't have to understand how it happens. You only need to remain true to your vision. Hold the picture of your fulfilled desire with tenderness. Visit it in your mind. Feel it as already yours. Carry it with the calm confidence of one who knows the end is already written. This is the power that changes lives. This is the force that creates new worlds. When you remain loyal to the unseen and trust your vision over your senses, you do more than just manifest blessings, you become the cause of them. And the old world must fall apart to make room for the one you've dared to believe in. You are not here by accident. You are here because your soul is ready to remember its power. Every word, every truth you've just absorbed is a call to rise, not through struggle, but through assumption. Your world is not waiting for a miracle to arrive. It is waiting for you to believe that the miracle is already yours. Imagination, desire, faith, and inner conviction are not soft ideas. They are the tools of transformation. When you dare to persist in your inner vision, when you trust the invisible more than the visible, the world around you must change, not gradually, but suddenly, explosively, abundantly. Your blessings are not coming from outside. They are being released from within. So stand firm, assume boldly, and walk as if it is already done, because it is. So, thank you for listening. Thank you for believing. Thank you for choosing to remember the power that already lives within you. Your new reality begins now. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine. You are no longer hoping, no longer waiting. You are not in lack. You are not chasing. You are now. Feel the weight of the world lifted from your shoulders. Not because someone saved you, but because the version of you who is already free, already wealthy, already standing in the flow of $50 million, 0 cents, has awakened. Let me remind you of a truth that has been buried beneath your doubts. You already have it. There is no need to hustle harder, to beg the world to give you more, or to ask permission from life itself. Creation is finished. All versions of you already exist. And the one with $50 million, 0 cents, is just one assumption away. You must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Not tomorrow, not when the evidence shows, right now. You must walk, talk, breathe, and rest in the knowing that it is already yours. Because money does not come to the needy, it comes to the one who knows it is already theirs. You are not poor. That is a memory, a phantom, a fading echo of an old state you no longer occupy. What you feel now, deeply and consistently, will clothe itself in form. Imagine it now, your accounts overflowing, your home reflecting abundance, your freedom unshaken by circumstance. Imagine not as a beggar but as a creator, not as a wish but as a fact. Do not ask how. The how is none of your business. The universe rearranges itself around the feeling you sustain, and your only job is to persist in that state until what is invisible becomes undeniable. You do not wait for wealth, you become wealth. You do not wait for a miracle, you are the miracle. $50 million, 0 cents is already mine. I'm not going to get it, I have it now. I accept it, I feel it, I live from it. Say it until you believe it. Then believe it until you no longer need to say it, because you'll be living it. And that's when the world will catch up. Breathe. Forget where you are, forget who you've been, forget what is in your bank account, and forget the world that tries so hard to remind you of what you lack. Instead, step into the secret place, the inner sanctuary where all things are possible. Here you are free. Here you are powerful. And here you already have the $50 million, 0 cents. Now, don't just imagine it as a number in an account. Feel what it means. What does it feel like to know you never have to worry about money again? What does it feel like to wake up and realize that life is now on your terms, that everything you once dreamed of is now simply your reality? This feeling, this inner experience, is the bridge. It is the link between the desire you hold and the world that reflects it. Most people try to force life into giving them what they want. They work tirelessly, striving, hustling, hoping, begging, all from the state of lack. But what they do not see is that life responds not to effort, but to assumption. The assumption that it is already done, that it is already yours. that you are no longer desiring it, but living from it. The secret is not in doing more, the secret is in being more. Be the person who already has it, not in pretense, but in awareness. If $50 million, 0 cents were truly yours now, how would you walk? How would you think? How would you speak? You must dare to enter that version of yourself and dwell there, not as a visitor, but as a resident. You see, desire is only the beginning. It is the spark, but feeling is the fire. Feeling is what sets the wheels in motion. It is the signal you send out to life, the language the invisible world understands. When you feel lack, the world mirrors back more lack. When you feel abundance, it must reflect abundance. Do not wait to see it in the outer world before you believe. That is not creation, that is reaction. Creation happens in the unseen. You create with your inner world, and the outer world has no choice but to follow. So train yourself to feel the feeling of your wish fulfilled, not just in moments of meditation, but in every idle moment. Feel it. Embody it. Let your imagination be bold. Let it be real. Picture yourself walking through your dream home, not as a dream, but as a memory. Hear your voice on the phone with your banker moving millions. Feel the texture of the life that belongs to you. Let it take over your senses. Let it rewrite your reality. This is not fantasy. This is the law of consciousness. What you accept as true within yourself becomes the truth you walk through. So never again say, I want, for wanting implies you do not have. Say instead, I am. I have. It is done. Because in the realm of spirit, it is already so. You are not imagining to create it. You are imagining to recognize what has already been created. You are not convincing the universe, you are convincing yourself. And once you believe it, the world will bend to that belief. The feeling is the key that unlocks the door. It is the proof of faith, the evidence of things not yet seen. So, live from the feeling, let it consume you, let it guide you, and one day soon, you'll look around and realize what you once imagined is now your life. What you see right now, the life you're living, the people around you, the money in your account, the job you hold, it is not the cause, it is the effect. The result of the imaginal acts you've once accepted as true. You may not remember the exact moment you imagined these things into being, but you did. Everything around you was first created in your mind. Every experience, every condition, every so-called coincidence, it was shaped by thought, molded by imagination, and sustained by belief. We are taught to believe that what we see with our physical eyes is the real world. But this is the great illusion. What you call reality is simply the solidified version of your inner world. It is a mirror, a delayed reflection of what you have accepted and entertained within yourself. If you do not like what you see, there is no use in fighting the reflection. The only transformation that lasts is the one that begins in the mind. Imagination is not some playful distraction. It is divine. It is creative power. It is the workshop of the world. Everything you ever built, touched, loved, or lost was first born in the invisible realm of thought. So why do we doubt it? Why do we look at our present circumstances and believe they are fixed, unchangeable? Because we have forgotten the truth. The outer world is not the master. It is the servant. If you want to change your life, you must go to the root, and the root is within. No one can see what you're imagining, but everyone will witness its effects. Do not underestimate the power that lies behind closed eyes and a quiet mind. In that stillness, you are shaping nations. In that inner silence, you are rewriting your life. The moment you begin to imagine a new reality and accept it as real, not someday, not maybe, but now, you begin to plant seeds in consciousness, and like every seed, it needs no effort on your part to grow. It only requires your faith. Water it with your attention, nourish it with repetition, Protect it from the weeds of doubt, and in time it must bear fruit. You cannot imagine one thing and expect another. You cannot dwell in poverty in your mind and expect riches to knock at your door. You cannot hold on to memories of failure and hope success will bloom. Life is just. It gives you exactly what you assume to be true, and that truth is not determined by your words, but by your inner state. So you must imagine differently, boldly, radically. You must dare to believe that your imagination is more real than what your senses report, because it is. The senses only tell you what was. Imagination tells you what can be. And if you persist in the assumption of your desire, your senses must eventually confirm it. They have no choice. The world does not change first. You do. And once you do, the world cannot help but change with you. Because imagination is not a dream. It is the foundation of all that exists. It is the only reality. Hold fast to it, and everything else will follow. There is a quiet power that moves mountains, opens doors, and multiplies wealth, and it does so without noise, without struggle, and without force. It does not shout, it whispers. It lives not in the world of action, but in the stillness of your inner being. And it is there in the silence of your mind that all things are claimed. Not earned, not chased, claimed. You have been taught to fight for money, to strive endlessly, to wake early and run faster, work harder, push beyond your limits. You've been told the world rewards those who hustle, who bleed, who sacrifice everything just to taste a drop of financial freedom, but that is not how true wealth is made. That is how it is chased, and often how it slips through your fingers. The real source of wealth is within, and it does not respond to desperation, it responds to acceptance. You do not have to convince the world you are worthy of money. You do not have to beg life to bless you. You only have to accept in the quiet sanctuary of your own mind that it is already yours. This is not denial of reality, this is mastery of it. Because reality is fluid, it bends to the assumptions you hold in consciousness. And when you claim something internally, not wishfully, but confidently, the world rearranges itself to match that inner knowing. So what does this claiming look like? It is not loud, it is not dramatic, it is subtle. You sit in stillness, you close your eyes, and you feel the truth of it. You hear the inner voice that says, I already have more than enough. You do not argue with it, you do not doubt it. You accept it as your new state of being. In this state, there is no need to hustle to prove yourself. There is no need to compare yourself to anyone else. There is no need to worry about how it will come. The how belongs to the wisdom of life itself. Your only role is to claim it. Think of the wealthy version of you, not in the future, now. What are they thinking? How do they feel about money? How do they walk through the world? They are not frantic. They are not anxious. They are calm. They are certain. They expect abundance, and therefore it finds them not because of effort, but because of alignment. This is the secret most ignore. You do not manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. And you become what you assume. So assume the role now. Be the person who already has it. Feel that peace. Feel that confidence. Not for 5 minutes, but for as long as it takes, until it becomes natural. Let others chase. Let them stress. You have found the still place, the place where all things begin. And from that place you speak not to the world, but to yourself. I have it. And that quiet claim echoes into the fabric of reality, weaving the events, people, and opportunities that lead you exactly where you belong. There is no need to announce it, no need to prove it. What is truly yours cannot be taken. What is claimed in consciousness cannot be denied in the outer world. So speak not with your mouth, but with your inner vision. Declare not to others, but to yourself, again and again, until your soul believes it. And when you believe, the world will reflect, not because you forced it, but because you claim it in the silence of your mind. To persist in the unseen is to claim a higher order of reality, one that is not dependent on appearances but anchored in conviction. What you see in the outer world is only a reflection of a former state of mind. It is not the truth of your present assumption. Therefore, to let what is seen determine what is believed is to surrender your power. You are not here to react to the world, you are here to create it. When you imagine a life of wealth, abundance, and ease, and yet wake up to unpaid bills, lack, or disappointment, that is the moment of choice. Will you persist in the unseen? Will you remain faithful to what you have claimed in consciousness, even when all the evidence around you says otherwise? Or will you fall into doubt, which is nothing but the mind denying the gift that was already given? Doubt is the thief. It is the subtle voice that whispers, maybe this isn't working. But that voice only arises when the outer world does not immediately validate your inner assumption. Do you see the trap? That voice believes the seen world is more real than the unseen one. But all that you now experience was once unseen. It was once only a thought, a feeling, an assumption. So why would you put your trust in what has been rather than what is becoming? Persisting in the unseen is the highest act of faith. It is declaring, I know what I have assumed, I know what I have accepted, and I will not be moved. It is standing in the invisible truth, knowing it must externalize, not by force, but by law. What you accept in imagination, what you feel to be true, must take shape. The bridge of incidents will appear, even if you cannot yet see how. Your role is not to make it happen, but to hold the state where it already has. The world may laugh at such certainty. It may call it delusion. But what is delusion except refusing to accept that imagination is more powerful than circumstance? What the world calls delusion, the wise call creation. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every invention began in the unseen. The dreamer who refused to give up, who refused to bow to facts, who persisted, he is the one who changes the world. This is especially true when it comes to wealth. You may declare that $50 million, 0 cents is yours. You may feel it in meditation, see it clearly in your mind. Yet the next day your account says 0. Your job feels limiting. The world seems unchanged. And this is where most give up. They say it's not working. But the truth is, it is working. The seed is planted, the soil has been watered. But because the fruit has not yet bloomed, they dig up the roots with doubt. Remain. Stay faithful. Every time doubt creeps in, return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Remind yourself that appearances lie. What is seen is old. What is real is what you've chosen in consciousness. And that reality, if not disturbed, must manifest. Let the outer world do what it will. It can scream, lack, show, delay, offer contradiction, but you are unmoved. You are anchored in the unseen. You know who you are. You know what is yours. And you persist, not in effort, not in struggle, but in stillness. The stillness of knowing, the quiet power of certainty. Because to persist in the unseen is to say, I already have it. And that, without exception, is how all miracles are born. There comes a time when asking must end and knowing must begin. The one who constantly asks, who repeatedly begs or pleads, is unknowingly affirming that they do not have. Each request is a subtle declaration of lack, a whisper that says, it is not yet mine. But when you move from asking to knowing, you shift the entire rhythm of your reality. You cease to chase and instead you become. The reason knowing is powerful is because it is complete. It does not look for evidence, it does not hope, it possesses. To know something in consciousness is to fuse with it so completely that the outer world has no choice but to conform. You are no longer trying to get money, success, love, or recognition. You are simply walking through the world as the one who already has it. This is not arrogance, this is not fantasy. This is the spiritual law at work. When you ask, you are like a beggar outside the gates, hands stretched, waiting for permission. But when you know, you are the owner of the estate, walking in your garden. The same request that once came from desperation now vanishes, because the result is already assumed. Knowing is not about words, it is about being. You can say, I know I'm rich, and yet still carry the inner feeling of scarcity. You can tell yourself it's done, while your energy screams, I hope it happens. This is why so many affirm without results. They are still asking on the inside, still doubting, still wondering if it will work. The shift happens when you no longer wonder because you already are. You're not trying to win the lottery. You're the person who has already received it. You're not hoping for wealth. You're adjusting your world to the wealth that is yours. The moment you stop asking and start knowing, the conversation with the universe changes. You are no longer separate from the thing you desire. You are it. Imagine walking into a room and knowing $50 million, 0 cents is already yours. Would you act differently, speak differently? Would you feel more secure, more free, more relaxed? That's your work, to feel from that version of you now, because knowing brings embodiment, and embodiment brings manifestation. When you stop asking, you stop pushing it away. When you start knowing, you magnetize it to you. People often say, I've been manifesting for so long, why hasn't it happened? The answer is almost always this: because you never stopped asking. You stayed in a loop of wanting, requesting, and waiting. But the ones who receive fast, the ones who shift effortlessly, they walk as if it's already so. They live from the end, not toward it. They know. Knowing is a calm thing. It is quiet. It does not need validation. It carries a peace that surpasses proof. When you know, you do not check for signs. You do not ask when. You do not look to others for reassurance. You simply hold the state, because you are the state. This is the secret behind miracles. The healer does not wonder if the body will be restored. He knows it already is. The visionary does not question if the business will succeed. He sees the future clearly and lives from it now. You too must begin to know your life into existence. So the next time you find yourself wanting to ask, pause. Replace it with inner conviction. Say within, it is already done. Then feel the shift. You'll notice your breathing slows. Your body relaxes. That anxious energy dissolves, because you are no longer a seeker. You are now the source. And from that state, the world will echo your certainty. It will bring you the evidence you no longer need, the manifestation you already believed. Because in the end, you don't get what you ask for. You get what you know is yours. To live from the end is to move beyond time, beyond doubt, beyond the illusion of separation. It means you no longer wait for the $50 million, 0 cents to appear before you believe it is yours. You claim it first in consciousness, and then live as the one who already has it. You do not ask when it will come. You do not chase signs. And you certainly do not let the numbers on a bank screen define your identity. You are not becoming rich. You are rich now. The world simply has to catch up. This is not about pretending. This is not wishful thinking. It is embodiment. It is stepping into the role that matches your desire and refusing to step out of it. If you believe the lottery win or the massive inheritance is something you must get to, then you've placed it ahead of you, like a dangling carrot. You are always on the way, never arriving. But the moment you live from the end, it becomes your present experience, not a hope, not a maybe, a fact. Most people play the lottery from lack. They pick numbers while feeling poor. They hope to win, but their hearts are filled with disbelief. They imagine how nice it would be, but live every day as though it's not going to happen. And so they perpetuate the state of not having. They are playing from the middle, not from the end. But the one who understands this law plays differently. You don't play the lottery trying to win. You play it knowing that you've already won. That's a different posture. That's not just optimism, it's certainty. When you fill out your ticket, do it with the energy of gratitude, with a deep inner stillness that says, "Thank you, it is done." Don't check the numbers in desperation. Check them as a confirmation of what you already accepted within. Living from the end means you make decisions as the version of yourself who already has the $50 million, 0 cents. How would you walk? How would you speak? What would you stop worrying about? You don't need to quit your job impulsively or buy things you can't yet afford, but you can embody the freedom, peace, and abundance right now. Feel it, dwell in it, make it normal. And when doubt tries to whisper, "But you haven't won yet," you gently respond, "I have already received it in consciousness, and the physical must obey." You don't argue with the senses, you outgrow them. You stop needing their permission. This is the divine act, when you choose the unseen over the visible and live fully from the place where the miracle is not just possible, but already done. The outer world will always delay in reflecting the inner world. That's how time works. There is a natural unfolding, but when you live from the end, you are no longer measuring time, you're resting in fulfillment, and that stillness draws the event to you faster than frantic effort ever could. So the next time you play the lottery, change your approach. Don't play because you're trying to escape something. Play because you've already arrived. Imagine holding the winning ticket. Feel the surge of peace, not excitement or desperation, just peace. Walk through your day as if the wealth is secured. When you do this, you are not trying to manipulate the outcome, you are aligning with it. This is the magic, not in the numbers, not in luck, but in the knowing. The knowing that reality bends to your assumption, and the end you live from becomes the path you walk. Because when you are already it, the world must rearrange to reflect it. And then, without warning, what was once a fantasy will greet you as a fact. You were never meant to chase, beg, or struggle for your desires. You were meant to assume, imagine, persist, and know. The $50 million, 0 cents is not somewhere far off in the future. It exists now, in the realm of your consciousness, waiting for your alignment. Every thought, every inner conversation, every assumption is creating the blueprint of your reality. Stop asking, stop hoping, stop waiting for signs. Be still, be certain, and live from the end. Imagination is not daydreaming, it is the foundation of reality. Assume the feeling, accept it in silence, and persist, even when the world shows you the opposite. This is how the bridge of incidents will unfold, effortlessly leading you to what you already claimed within. The money, the freedom, the peace, it's already yours. Think from it, not of it. Live from it, not toward it. This is the secret to unlocking the life that was always meant for you. You're now to value being for watching, for listening, and for awakening to the truth of your power. You are not waiting on the world is waiting on you. Keep imagining boldly, believing completely, and knowing deeply. The evidence will follow. You have been taught to look outward, to chase, to strive, to wait for that golden moment when life finally delivers. The winning numbers, the big break, the miracle. But let me tell you this, you are your lottery ticket. You are the source, not the seeker. You are the cause, not the consequence. There is no fate waiting to be kind to you. There is only your inner world, creating what you believe to be true. Most people walk along praying to win, never realizing they are already holding the ticket. That ticket is your imagination, not a child's fantasy, but a spiritual force that shapes reality. What you inwardly accept, you outwardly express. You want to be rich, loved, free, then close your eyes and feel it real, not tomorrow, now. You don't get what you beg for. You get what you embody. Desire is not random. It is divine instruction. When a desire is born in you, it's because in another plane of existence, it is already done. Your work is not to question how, but to dwell in the state where it's already true. You don't wait to win, you decide that you have. And when you walk in that state long enough, the world rearranges itself to match it. People spend their whole lives trying to pick the right numbers, the right path, the right person, but they miss the truth. The number is you. You are the jackpot. You are the unfolding. The prize was never money or fame or success. It was your own realization of power. So stop chasing and start choosing. The moment you dare to believe, despite appearances, that what you want is already yours, that moment is the draw. That moment is the win. And everything from that moment on simply obeys your assumption. Imagination is not a passive thing. It is not daydreaming, not wishful thinking, not idle fantasy. It is the creative center of your life. Everything you experience, everything you touch and hold and claim as yours, first existed within the invisible workshop of your mind. You may believe that the world responds to action, to logic, to planning and hard effort. And while those have their place, they are not the root of manifestation. The root is assumption. The root is imagination. The world is not reacting to what you do. It is reflecting who you are. And who you are is defined by what you imagine to be true. Your inner picture, the scene you return to in quiet moments, the identity you hold in secret, the emotions you nurture when no one is looking, that is what gets drawn. That is the winning number. You are not waiting for luck. You are broadcasting your fate through every belief you entertain and every feeling you consistently occupy. If you see yourself as struggling, then that becomes the number the universe calls. If you persist in the assumption that you're unworthy, unlucky, unseen, then so it is. The world merely confirms the image you hold within. But if you dare to revise that image, to feel yourself abundant, chosen, loved, successful, even before you see the evidence, then the evidence begins to come. It must come, because your imagination is the cause, and reality is its shadow. This is why striving often fails. You can work from dawn to dusk, hustle every hour, and still find the door locked, not because you lack skill or discipline, but because your inner concept contradicts your outer effort. Action without assumption is like trying to win with the wrong numbers in your hand. But once you assume correctly, once you claim inwardly what you want to be outwardly, the world bends. Events align, people appear, doors swing open without force. That is the power of living from the end. The great secret is that nothing changes until you do. And change doesn't begin with your habits or your words, it begins with the image you hold of yourself, the inner picture, that silent, persistent vision. That's the real cause of what you call your life. And the miracle is that you can change it now. You don't need permission. You don't need proof. You don't even need time. What you need is faith in the unseen, confidence in the imaginal act. What you imagine and assume to be true, not just once, but consistently, becomes your reality. It is law. And once you understand this, you stop begging and you start declaring. You stop waiting and you begin embodying. Because you realize the world outside only follows what you've accepted within. You don't need to force the outcome. You simply need to live as though it already is. Think the thoughts you would think if it were true. Walk the way you would walk if it were yours. Feel the feelings you would feel if it had already happened. In doing so, you align with the number that matches your desire. And the draw becomes inevitable. So don't underestimate imagination. It is not just play, it is power. It is not escape, it is creation. It is not someday, it is now. If you would change your life, you must first change your assumption. Paint the inner picture and dwell in it. Feel it real. Because once the inner number is drawn, the outer must follow. You are not at the mercy of chance. You are not at the whim of circumstances. You are the one holding the pen, drawing the numbers, writing the outcome. And if you can see it clearly in the mind, hold it firmly in your feeling and trust it fully without doubt. It is yours, not later, now. Because imagination is the winning number and you already have it. Desire is not something to question. It is not a random emotion that visits you on idle afternoons. It is not a maybe. It is not a wish. It is not a fragile hope floating in the air. Desire is a message, a knowing, a signal from the unseen that what you seek is already prepared for you, already waiting in a higher plane of existence. It is not asking you to beg for it. It is asking you to become it. Too many people receive a desire and immediately begin to doubt. How can this happen? What if it doesn't work? Who am I to want this? But those questions are rooted in a misunderstanding of what desire really is. You see, the moment a true desire is born within you, it is proof that the thing you seek already exists. It does not come to torment you or to remind you of your lack. It comes because it is, and it wants to be expressed through you. Your only task is not to chase it, not to plead for it, but to embody it. To assume the state of the one who already possesses it. To move through your world as if it were already done. Because in the invisible realm, the one that creates all things seen, it is already done. Desire is the echo of that completed thing. It comes to awaken you to a higher version of yourself. When you desire a new life, a new relationship, a deeper purpose, it is not fantasy. It is calling you to shift into alignment with that version of you where it is natural and normal. The desire is the invitation. You don't need to make it happen. You need to accept it has happened. That is the real work. Not effort, not struggle, but acceptance and embodiment. This is why you must stop treating your desires like fragile dreams. They are not balloons waiting to pop. They are seeds of certainty. Your job is not to question them, but to nurture them with feeling, with imagination, with belief. To see them clearly in your mind, to feel them in your body. To walk through life as if they were already your reality. The outer world may not reflect it immediately, but that doesn't mean it's not real. The unseen always comes first. The inner shift always precedes the outer change. If you doubt the desire, you push it away. But if you embrace it, live from it, give thanks for it, you bring it into form. Not by force, but by faith. Think about this. How could you desire something that was never meant for you? You wouldn't even have the awareness of it. You wouldn't feel the pull. You wouldn't crave that experience if it wasn't already connected to you. Desire is the soul remembering what the mind has forgotten. It's your inner being pointing to a timeline that already exists. A version of you who has, who lives, who is what you want to become. That version of you is real. That version of you is calling. The desire is the bridge. But you must cross it not with words or willpower, but with assumption, with identity, with being. So the next time a deep desire stirs in your chest, don't analyze it. Don't question it. Don't measure it against your current life. Instead, understand what it truly is. A signal that the thing is already done, and it is waiting for you to catch up, waiting for you to stop doubting and start dwelling in it, waiting for you to feel it real. Because once you embody it, the world must reflect it. That is law, that is truth. And that is why desire is not a hope. You are not waiting to win, you already have. The moment you claimed it in your imagination, the moment you saw it clearly and felt it deeply, it was done. In the realm that matters most, the unseen realm, the only real realm, it is already complete. You do not need to wait for the world to confirm it. The world only mirrors back what you have already accepted as true within yourself. Most people live in the posture of waiting for the call, waiting for the money, waiting for the relationship, the success, the sign that what they want is coming. But this waiting posture is the very reason they continue to wait. They have not yet understood that the outer follows the inner, not the other way around. If you wait to see it before you feel it, you are reversing the order of creation. You are trying to harvest before planting. You are asking the mirror to smile before you do. The truth is simple and profound. You do not need evidence to believe. Belief creates the evidence. Assumption creates the path. Feeling is the secret. And when you truly feel that you already have what you desire, you no longer look around for proof. You become the proof. You walk differently, speak differently, think differently, not because something outside has changed, but because you have. And that inner change is the cause of everything that will follow. You must begin to act from your desire, not toward it. You must begin to carry the tone, the energy, the quiet confidence of one who has already won. This is not delusion, it is alignment. The unseen is not less real, it is more real. The outer world is only the echo, the residue, the reflection. So when you accept the victory inwardly, even while outward conditions appear unchanged, you have already succeeded. Because all that remains is for the outer to rearrange itself around your new assumption. Stop asking when, stop looking for confirmation, start being, start embodying, start knowing. The person who lives in the feeling of victory never asks, will it happen? They live in the answer. They walk as the one who already received. They no longer hope. They express. They no longer wish. They move in faith. And because they do, the world bends, people respond, and life begins to take the shape of that inner certainty. This is the great secret. You are not trying to make something happen. You are remembering that it already has. You are not waiting to win the lottery of life. You are claiming the ticket that has your name on it. And you do this not by effort, but by knowing. Not by pushing, but by assuming. You live in the end. You feel the wish fulfilled. You become the result. And then life has no choice but to reflect it. Even when nothing seems to be happening, trust that it is. The unseen is always moving. Your assumption has already set forces into motion. The moment you imagined the scene, the moment you believed it to be real, it was sealed. So don't disrupt that process by doubting it. Don't delay your manifestation by constantly checking if it's arrived. You don't plant a seed and dig it up the next morning to see if it's growing. You water it. You trust it. You know the harvest is certain. So walk through your day today as one who already has it. Feel the peace of having it. Speak from that place. Think from that place. Radiate from that place. Because you are not waiting to win, you already have. And when you fully know this, when you fully dwell in this truth, the world must yield. It must show you what you have already accepted as yours. You do not need chance. You need conviction. Life is not a game of odds, it is a mirror of your assumptions. The world you see around you is not dictating your life, it is echoing it. The beliefs you carry in secret, the quiet conclusions you've drawn about who you are and what is possible for you, are writing every chapter you walk through. You can dress it up with action, disguise it with hard work, but until your inner state changes, your outer world remains the same. You see, there is a silent writer within you, the one who truly shapes your reality. That writer is your imagination, your assumption, your belief. Not the words you speak out loud, not the effort you make, but the deep, often unspoken conviction about yourself and your place in the world. That is what creates. That is what manifests. You can tell everyone you believe in success, but if you secretly feel unworthy, life will honor the secret, not the statement. The world listens to what you whisper to yourself in the dark. The world listens to your inner self-concept, not your outer declarations. That's why two people can do the same thing, say the same words, follow the same path, and one flourishes while the other flounders. It has nothing to do with luck. It has everything to do with inner certainty. Because the inner you is writing the outcome long before the event unfolds. So many walk through life trying to force change, never realizing that true change is not forced, it is accepted. You cannot outwork a belief that says, I am not enough. You cannot out-hustle an identity rooted in fear. Until you revise the story within, life will continue to hand you the same chapter in different disguises. That is not punishment. That is law. That is reflection. But here is the beautiful part. You are not stuck. You are not at the mercy of fate. You are the writer, not the reader. You get to choose what you assume to be true. And the moment you begin to claim a new belief, even without evidence, the world begins to shift. Quietly, subtly, but surely. Because the world must reflect what you've accepted as real. This is why conviction matters more than circumstances. When you hold a belief with unwavering certainty, the world cannot help but take shape around it. It may seem slow, it may seem unlikely, but it will come, not because of force, but because of faith. Conviction is creative power. It is the seed that guarantees the harvest. Not maybe, not hopefully, but inevitably. You do not need everyone to believe in you. You need you to believe in you. You do not need the perfect timing, the perfect conditions, the perfect opportunities. You need to assume the end and trust that life will reorganize to bring it about. The one who knows inwardly that they are already what they desire to be will always outpace the one who waits for proof. So start within. Speak to yourself differently. See yourself differently. Carry yourself as the one who has already arrived. Write the story in your mind and feel it as true. Do not ask if the world agrees with it. The world will come to agree once you've made the decision. Once you've stepped into the new self, the new identity, the new assumption, the mirror must follow. So it does not matter where you began. It only matters what you believe now. Every moment you are writing your future, not with effort, but with inner agreement. Not with chance, but with choice. The inner you holds the pen. The question is, are you writing from fear or are you writing from faith? Because whatever you write, the world will read and reflect. And when you finally understand that truth, you stop chasing results. You start choosing them from within. It is not luck that changes a life. It is not toil alone that builds abundance, nor is it charm that secures love, or medicine that always brings healing. The true currency of this world is unseen. It is assumption. What a man assumes to be true about himself, even in silence, even when the world denies it, that is the force that shapes every outcome. That is the invisible gold that purchases reality. Look closely at your life, not with blame, but with clarity. What you assume to be true has repeated itself again and again, hasn't it? Not the passing wishes or the half-hearted hopes, but the deep inner verdicts you've carried, those secret agreements about your worth, your value, your ability to succeed or fail. They have become law in your world, because assumption, once believed, is not passive. It creates. It moves the unseen to bring itself into form. When a person walks with the assumption that they are loved, they carry a vibration that no words can fake. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. Their tone, their posture, the ease in their presence, it all announces to the world, I am loved and I know it. People respond accordingly. Likewise, when someone assumes wealth inwardly, even if the bank account is empty, their decisions, their creativity, their perception, it all shifts to match that inner truth. They no longer move from lack but from abundance. And abundance follows. This is why two people can start from the same place, face the same obstacles, and live radically different lives. One assumed defeat, the other assumed dominion. One waited to be shown it could happen, the other believed it must. And that belief, quiet, invisible, and often unrecognized, paved the way for all the outer events to obey it. Redemption is not just daydreaming, it is a knowing that settles in the bones, a truth you claim without needing permission. It is the willingness to live as though the desire were already fact, to feel the peace, the confidence, the relief now, before a single thing has changed. That is what makes it real. Not because you tricked the universe, but because you aligned with it. You became it. Many make the mistake of trying to change their lives by changing the world around them. They chase new jobs, new partners, new locations, always hoping something out there will shift the way they feel. But the outer can never do what only the inner can. You cannot find love if you assume yourself unlovable. You cannot keep wealth if you assume yourself unworthy. The currency is assumption. Until the belief changes, the world remains unchanged. But the beauty of this truth is that nothing is required but your decision. You do not need to convince anyone else. You do not need to explain or justify. You simply need to assume and persist. Assume you're already the version of yourself that you desire to be. Assume you're already seen, supported, successful, and live from that place, not toward it, from it. There will be moments when nothing outside will reflect it yet. Hold firm. The temptation will be to doubt, to say it's not working. But assumption is like a seed. It must be watered with faith, not dug up with fear. If you persist in the assumption, the outer world must comply. That is not opinion, that is spiritual law. So decide today, what do you assume to be true about you? Not what you wish was true, what you quietly believe in the unseen corners of your mind, because that assumption is spending itself every day. It is buying your experiences. It is drawing people, opportunities, or delays. If you want a new life, don't wait for one. Assume one. Assume it now. Carry that belief like wealth in your pocket. Let it change your tone, your choices, your energy. Because your assumptions are the real currency. And life always gives you what you've already paid for within. There is no prize out there waiting to be found. No hidden jackpot sitting behind a curtain you must fight to pull back. The world has taught you to chase, to run after love, money, peace, healing, as though these things live outside of you, as though they are given to a few and withheld from others. But this is illusion. There is no external jackpot. You are the source. Everything you seek already exists within your state of consciousness. You are not a beggar at the door of destiny. You are the door. You are the giver. You are the wind. The moment you begin to look inward, everything begins to change. What you desire is not found in a distant future or a lucky break. It is found in the present moment, where you align with the version of yourself who already has it. That version is not a fantasy, it is a fact, waiting for your recognition. The only reason you do not see it in your current experience is because your awareness has not fully accepted it. You have not embodied it. This is why effort alone often leads to exhaustion. You may work harder than anyone else, but if you are doing it from a place of lack, of needing to reach something that feels separate from you, then no amount of striving will give you what you long for. You are not here to chase the dream. You are here to awaken to the truth that the dream is already within you, waiting to be claimed. You have been conditioned to believe that fulfillment comes after achievement, that love comes after beauty, that wealth comes after grinding, that peace comes after control, but these are backwards. The outer only reflects the inner. When you feel rich within, wealth appears without. When you feel loved within, affection flows to you. When you carry peace within your being, the world begins to mirror that calm. You must become it first. And you can because you already are. Your true power is not in waiting for the world to change, but in choosing your state of being now. That is the secret most overlooked. They wait for proof when life is waiting for permission. You grant that permission the moment you say, I am already who I wish to be. Not someday, not if things go well. Now. You declare it. You live from it, you think from it, you feel from it, and the world, faithful to its law, reshapes to match your inner truth. You are not a character in a game hoping for a winning number. You are the creator of the number. The code is written inside your imagination. The outcome is scripted by your assumption. When you understand that nothing happens outside until it first happens within, you stop chasing shadows. You sit still. You turn inward, and you remember you are the source. So what do you believe to be true about yourself right now? Do you believe you are worthy of joy, of abundance, of love? Or are you still trying to earn what is already yours by birthright? Stop waiting for the applause of others to feel valuable. Stop needing a sign before you feel secure. The sign comes after the state, not before. You are not becoming the wind, you are discovering that you already are it. Every desire you hold is not a test, it's a revelation. It's showing you what's already planted within you. The question is not, will I get there? The question is, am I willing to accept that I already am? That shift changes everything. There is no jackpot hidden out there in the distance. The treasure is not buried in the future. It is you. It has always been you. The key is not in finding something new. It's in remembering who you are and claiming it without hesitation. Stop chasing. Start assuming. And let the world reveal what you've already chosen within. Close your eyes and imagine with me. Not tomorrow, not next year, but now, right now. What if everything you've been praying for, longing for, and working toward had already happened? Would you still walk the same? Would your tones still sound uncertain? Would your shoulders still slump in quiet worry? Or would you rise with the calm strength of one who knows they've already arrived? You see, the world will never give you permission to believe. That is something you must grant yourself. The moment you begin to act, not from desperation or doubt, but from fulfillment, You activate the unseen. You shift your identity, and when identity changes, reality must follow. You are not here to chase anything. You are here to reveal who you already are. The moment you feel yourself to be the one who has already received, you cross an invisible threshold. No doors need to be knocked on, no opportunities chased. You become the magnet. The evidence flows to you not because you asked louder, but because you believed deeper. Proof is the echo of belief, and belief is the seed of all becoming. You must walk, speak, decide, and breathe as one who knows, this is my time. Every second spent doubting is a second lived in delay. Every moment spent assuming the victory is already yours shortens the distance between thought and thing. And let me tell you this truth. Time bends to the one who no longer waits. So drop the someday, release the if only. Abandon the idea that it is far off, or that you're unworthy, or that you're not ready. You always have been. Your only job now is to become the version of yourself who no longer waits, because the truth is simple. Your time has come, and the world has been waiting for you to realize it. The moment you assume it is yours, you begin the unseen process of making it so. This is not poetic language or hopeful thinking. It is law. Assumption is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between thought and reality. It is the silent architect of your world, shaping circumstance not with noise or force, but with quiet conviction. When you assume something to be true, regardless of what your senses report, you impress that truth upon the deeper part of your consciousness, and this inner impression, like a seed planted in fertile soil, must bring forth after its kind. Most people wait for outer confirmation before they dare to believe. They wait for signs, for evidence, for applause. But life doesn't work like that. Outer reality is always the effect, never the cause. It is the mirror, not the source. And just as a mirror can never smile first, your world can never reflect a state you haven't first embodied within. Assuming something is already yours isn't about fantasy. It's about shifting your identity. It's about becoming the person who already possesses what they once hoped to receive. You don't assume to trick the universe, you assume to align with it. You don't fake confidence, you embody it. And from that embodiment, things begin to move. Assumption is an act of spiritual possession. You lay hold of the unseen by declaring, this is who I am now. Not who I will be, not who I might become if everything works out, but who I am now. The very moment you adopt this inner stance, the world around you starts to rearrange itself. Not always instantly, but inevitably. The delay never means denial, it only means your assumption is still maturing. But the work is not in watching for results. The work is in remaining faithful to the feeling. The unseen process you begin with assumption is delicate and exact. It does not respond to force, but to faith. You are not asked to push or strive or manipulate conditions. You are asked to accept that what you have imagined fully, vividly, and emotionally is already real in the unseen realm. Your persistence in that feeling is what brings it into form. You may not know how it will happen. You may not even see a single logical step between your current situation and the fulfillment of your assumption. That's not your concern. The how belongs to higher intelligence. Your role is to sustain the feeling of already being there. Live from it. Speak from it. Make decisions as if it were already true, and you'll begin to notice something strange. People will treat you differently. Doors will open, ideas will flow, and events will conspire, not because you forced them to, but because your world must reflect the self you are being. There is no power greater than assumption rightly used. It is not arrogance, it is alignment. When you walk in the assumption that it is already done, the world cannot help but comply. For the world is not outside you. It is within you, reflecting your every dominant belief. So choose wisely, assume boldly, and trust quietly. Because the moment you assume it is yours, you are no longer waiting for the future. You have already arrived. Your feeling is the secret signal. It is the invisible force that whispers to the universe, "This is my truth." And the universe, being impersonal and exact, responds not to what you say, not to what you hope for, but to what you feel to be real. The feeling of already done is not a mood you temporarily entertain. It is the signal, the vibration, the stamp of your inner world, sent out with precision and certainty. When you feel that something is already yours, even in the absence of physical evidence, you are declaring its reality in the only place that matters, your consciousness. Everything begins in the unseen. Every change, every manifestation, every shift in your outer world first takes shape in the realm of feeling. It is your internal emotional state that tells creation what to produce. Thought alone is not enough. You can repeat affirmations and visualize endlessly, but if your feeling contradicts your words or pictures, it is the feeling that will win. Why? Because your feeling is honest. It cannot be faked. It is the purest reflection of who you believe yourself to be right now. When you dwell in the feeling of already done, you are not trying to get anything you have already received. And from that assumption, you move differently. You no longer ask whether it will happen. You know it already has. You're no longer impatient or doubtful because you understand the order of things. The feeling comes first, the manifestation follows. You're not waiting to believe because it showed up. You believe, and so it must show up. This is not imagination run wild. It is the divine order of life. Everything in your world is responding to you. Not your words, not your effort, but the vibration of your state. And your state is determined by what you consistently feel. That's why the moment you can truly feel something as real, you begin the process of its arrival. Not because you forced it. You've already experienced this. Think back to a time when you just knew something was going to happen and it did. Perhaps it wasn't logical or even likely, but your inner conviction was so strong, so saturated with emotion, that it had no choice but to come to pass. That wasn't coincidence. That was your feeling sending a signal. So you must train yourself to feel differently, not based on your current conditions, but based on your chosen outcome. You must learn to feel successful before the money comes, to feel love before the relationship appears, to feel healthy before the body shows signs. This is the creative act. This is how you become the cause, not the effect. And the beautiful secret is this. When you sustain the feeling long enough, your outer world conforms. It cannot do otherwise. The people, opportunities, resources, all begin to organize themselves to reflect your inner claim. Because the world is not separate from you, it is you pushed out. So the work is simple, though not always easy. Feel it now, not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, not when the evidence appears. Feel it now, because the moment you do, the universe begins moving, not in confusion, but with clarity, toward the version of reality you have already claimed with your heart. And in that moment, creation is complete. You must live from the end. This is the great key. Not from the middle, not from the struggle, not from the hopeful waiting, but from the end, where the desire is already fulfilled. To live from the end is to embody the version of yourself who already has what they once sought. It is not about pretending, it is about claiming. You are not trying to get there, you are there. You do not wish for it, you walk in it. When you hope, you place your desire in the future. When you beg, you confirm you do not yet have. But when you live from the end, you collapse time. You pull the future into the present and say, this is who I am now. It doesn't matter what the senses say. It doesn't matter what the world looks like. The truth is not out there. It is within you. And when you persist in that inner truth, your outer world cannot help but bend to reflect it. The world is only echoing your state of being. If you feel lack, it will give you more lack. If you feel separation from your desire, it will continue to stay apart from you. But if you feel the satisfaction of having already received, if you move through your day as though nothing is missing, everything begins to move. Opportunities reveal themselves, people show up and events align, not because you forced anything, but because you aligned yourself with the outcome. To live from the end is to change the script. Instead of reacting to life, you become the writer. You no longer ask, will it happen? You affirm it already has. And you let your thoughts, your words, your decisions, and your actions flow from that certainty. You no longer wait for signs, you become the sign. This is not arrogance. It is surrender. You are surrendering the need to control, the need to prove, the need to be reassured. You rest in the unseen truth, and from that rest comes great power. When you move from the end, you speak differently, you walk differently. You are not swayed by appearances because you know they are temporary. What is real is what you have claimed in consciousness. Living from the end means becoming emotionally at home in the state of fulfillment. You feel the joy now, you feel the confidence now, you feel the peace now. Because you are no longer chasing, you are remembering. You are remembering who you are and what is already yours. The mistake most make is thinking they have to earn it, prove it, or wait for it. But the only real requirement is to become it internally. Once you do, the outer must follow. It has no choice. Reality reflects the dominant assumption. And assumption, when lived out through feeling and action, becomes fact. So don't wait. Don't delay your peace. Don't put your joy on hold until something happens. Live from the end now. Speak from the end now. And as you do, the distance between you and your desire dissolves. Not through effort, but through identity. You must live, move, and breathe as if it's already yours. Because in truth, it is. Time waits for belief. Your appointed time, your moment of fulfillment, your so-called breakthrough, it is not hidden somewhere in the future, waiting to arrive by date or deadline. It is not something written on a calendar, circled in red, ticking its way toward you. No, your time begins the moment your belief becomes unshakable, when you no longer look to the outside for proof, when you no longer ask if it's working or when it will show up, but instead live as though it already has. That is the moment your time begins. Most people live backward. They wait for signs to believe. They wait for results to feel confident. They wait for permission to know it's possible. But life does not work like that. The world is not waiting to prove something to you. It is waiting to respond to you. And it does not respond to your effort. It responds to your belief. Not the surface level belief of words or wishes, but the deep settled knowing within that says, this is mine, I am it, I have it now. The moment your belief becomes firm, the world shifts. You may not see it right away, but it begins. Invisible movements take place. Doors that were once closed begin to loosen. People you've never met begin thinking of you. Situations rearrange, circumstances conspire. Not because time passed, but because belief ignited. You see, time is not the master. Belief is. Time follows consciousness. It bends to match the inner state you live in. If you believe something is far away, time will stretch it endlessly. But if you believe it is already yours, time will contract and bring it near, not because you forced it, but because your belief declared it so. And belief is not about pretending. It's not a mental trick or a forced mantra. It is a state of being. It is the quiet inner certainty that does not waver, even when everything on the outside appears the same. It is the refusal to doubt, not because you see the evidence, but because you no longer need it. You have seen it clearly within, and that is enough. Many ask, when will it happen? But the real question is, when will I believe? Because the timing of your desire is not in the stars, it is in your hands. It begins the moment you stop asking and start knowing, the moment you stop hoping and start assuming. That shift, subtle but powerful, is what sets everything in motion. There is no destiny that forces you to wait endlessly. There is no cosmic delay keeping you from what is already yours in spirit. There is only belief, either delayed or accepted. And when belief is accepted fully, wholly, and without contradiction, your world catches up with it. So if you are still waiting, ask yourself, do I truly believe? Or am I just hoping it will come one day? Because belief lives in the now. It does not speak in future tense. It says, I am. And when you live from that I am, time responds not slowly, but faithfully. Not with resistance, but with obedience. Your time begins with your belief. Make it unshakable, and watch how fast time obeys. You cannot fake faith. Faith is not a show you put on. It is not a smile you wear or words you rehearse. Faith is not about pretending everything is fine while inside you crumble with doubt. True faith is alignment, complete inner agreement between what you think, how you feel, and how you act. The world responds to that alignment because it senses what is real, not what is forced. You may speak the right words, you may visualize every day, but if your heart wavers and your steps are uncertain, the world reads your vibration, not your voice. The world around you is not blind, it is responsive. It mirrors the energy you truly live from, not the mask you wear for others. If you say, I believe, but carry worry in your chest, hesitation in your walk, and anxiety in your decisions, then the message you're broadcasting is not one of faith. It's one of fear dressed up in hope. And hope, though it may feel good for a moment, is not the same as faith. Faith moves as if the outcome is already done. Faith walks boldly, not waiting for evidence to confirm it made the right move. You see, faith doesn't beg. It doesn't look around asking for signs. Faith decides, and from that decision it walks with confidence. When your mind and body move together in certainty, when your thoughts are clear, your emotions settled, and your actions congruent, you create momentum. And the world, being obedient to your inner state, has no choice but to comply. Things begin to shift not because you manipulated them, but because you finally stopped contradicting yourself. Faith cannot be faked. You either have it or you don't. But the beautiful truth is this: you can grow into it. You don't need to be perfect today. You simply need to become honest with yourself. Where am I faking it? Where am I speaking one thing but believing another? When you face that honestly, you can begin the work of bringing your inner world into unity. Once your faith is real, the difference is unmistakable. You don't need to shout. You don't need to convince anyone. You carry a calm knowing. You move differently. You trust delays. You embrace the unknown because you already know how it ends. And that knowing draws your desire to you, not by force, but by resonance. So stop trying to perform faith. Instead, become it. Let your thoughts, feelings, and actions agree. Walk as if it is already done, not for the world's applause, but because within you it already is. When your whole being moves in unity with what you claim, the world has no choice but to follow. It is not fooled by your words, it is moved by your certainty. The door opens inward. This is the great secret most overlook. They search and search, knocking on doors, asking others for the key, looking to circumstances to change so they can finally feel ready. But the truth is, the door you've been waiting to walk through does not open out into the world. It opens within you. The opportunity you're seeking, the version of you whose time has come, has never been outside your reach. It's been inside your consciousness all along, waiting not on the right time, but on your right decision. You were never meant to chase. You were meant to awaken. The version of you who has the confidence, the love, the peace, the wealth, the influence, it already exists, not far away, not 10 years from now, but here, in the unseen dimension of your being. The you who has arrived is not something to become, but something to remember. And remembrance happens the moment you stop looking outward and turn inward. We're conditioned to believe the world grants us permission, that we must be chosen, approved, or qualified by someone or something before we act. But nothing outside of you holds that power. The world simply mirrors your decision. If you do not walk in the identity of the version of yourself who already possesses what you seek, the world cannot reflect it back to you. You are the initiator, the trigger, the authority. But until you realize this, you remain outside the door knocking, when all along it was waiting for you to go within and open it. The mistake we make is trying to manipulate the external, trying to change people, chase opportunities, force timing. But this is backwards. All transformation begins at the root, and the root is within. The inner change precedes the outer result. You do not need to force reality to change. You only need to become the version of you that reality responds to. The outer door swings open the moment you open the inner one. This isn't metaphor, it's law. Your world is shaped by the self you assume, not the self you pretend to be, but the one you live as. If you constantly identify with the version of yourself who is still waiting, still striving, still doubting, then life will match that identity. But if you allow yourself, even for a moment, to step into the identity of the one who already is, then the entire story changes. Because you've changed. The you whose time has come does not wait for conditions to be perfect. They know that perfection is found in presence. That confidence is not a result, but a cause. That freedom is not found in outer validation, but in inner liberation. And when you accept this, you stop seeking the key. You realize you are the key. The door opens inward. Let that be your reminder. You are not stuck, you are not lost, you are not missing anything. You are simply standing in front of a door that can only be opened by a shift in awareness. The moment you say yes to that higher version of yourself, yes to the power, the clarity, the purpose already within, you'll feel the door give way. Not because the world changed, but because you finally gave yourself permission to walk through. The truth has always been simple. Your time begins the moment you decide it has. Not when circumstances change, but when you change. When your belief becomes unshakable. When your inner world aligns with the end you seek. When your actions reflect your assumption, not your doubts. That's when everything shifts. You cannot fake this. You must become it. The key is not in effort, but in embodiment. The door to your next level opens inward, not outward. It waits for your permission, your ownership, your full identification with the version of yourself who already lives in the fulfillment of your desire. Stop waiting for life to tell you it's your time. Act as if your time has come, and life will bow to your decision. Thank you for walking this path of awakening. May you remember who you are and never again wait for what is already yours,